seen any of their tapes or anything else. So this is something that we 100% have zero involvement with. This is something that you'd have to talk to the production people about, or what they were doing, or whatever it was.
So was this your advance?
We've never seen anything that they've shot other than what's going to be on TV.
Bill Belichick on WEEI yesterday after the story broke that a Patriots videography crew at the Browns-Bengals game on Sunday allegedly was videotaping the Bengals sideline, which is important because the Patriots literally are on to Cincinnati this week. And look, this is no different than what was happening back in 2007 and prior to that, when they would play a team that they knew they were going to play again later in the year, videotape the sidelines, get the defensive coaching signals, and crack the code, and then they would know, ideally in real time, whether and to what extent a given defense was going to be called. Now, this does bring a different element into it because there's plausible deniability for Bill Belichick, and there's no evidence at this point that there is any connection between this video crew and the football operation. But how dumb can you be if you're these video folks? Of all teams in the NFL, Chris, the last team, I mean, there's certain things you need to be sensitive to in your job.
Yeah.
There's certain things, like for us, we know that there are certain words, and if we say them, we will not be here tomorrow. You know that goes with the territory. If you're going to be operating a video camera for the New England Patriots, it's safe to say you should never be videotaping the sideline of a team that is on your schedule in the coming weeks, or in this case, in the coming days.
Well, one, it's not a part of their, organization. It's an independent film crew, right? So
No. You're eating the cheese. These are agents of the Patriots. We're going to get into corporate law here because they put in their statement, some of these guys are independent contractors. It doesn't matter. They're there on behalf of the Patriots.
Okay,
that's a way to get lay people to say, oh, it's no big deal. It's not connected to the team. It's connected to the team. As I said during the radio broadcast, what happened here is they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and their defense is, we didn't know it was a cookie jar.
That's basically it. Caught with their hand in the cookie jar.
Yes, they did. No. Yes, they did.
Okay, great.
If the video shows, and the reports are out there, that there was video shot of the Bengals sideline for a full quarter, they did get caught with their hand in the cookie jar. The question is, did they know their hand was in the cookie jar?
Okay.
That's the argument. We didn't know. It was stupid. It wasn't malicious.
If it's a full quarter of filming the sideline, then yeah, there's something to worry about. If they're filming the sideline for the full quarter, then yes, the fix is in. Okay, then yeah, they're doing something wrong there, 100%. But, I mean, I got to see that and hear that from the NFL to believe that. I got to, because I just can't imagine that would be it. And I understand this is something that they do for their website. It's a show for that, TV, everything else that way. It's a production crew. And they're following a guy.
But here's what it comes to, Chris. I want to make sure the audience understands what's going on here. Right? What's on that camera, what's on that tape is going to determine whether or not the Patriots get in trouble. Yeah. That's it. Right? You're there ostensibly, as you were saying, and I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I don't want to get off the rails here. What's on that camera is going to tell us the story.
Yes.
And any plausible explanation you can give as to why guys were doing whatever and why they were there, fine. But if that camera shows a stationary shot or maybe gradual panning back and forth of the Bengals sideline throughout the course of a full quarter, they're cooked. Even if Bill Belichick can say, we never get that footage, you're cooked because of the history involved.
Yes, agreed. If that's the case, then yes. But, I mean, again, I guess this is where I would fall on this. First up, New England doesn't need to film the Cincinnati Bengals sideline. We know that. They're the better football team, all that. But for who cares, even with that? The next thing would be, after that, I don't think the Patriots are dumb enough, okay? This is the greatest, smartest organization we've ever seen, run by Mr. Kraft and Bill Belichick, to go, hey, let's send a bunch of credentialed New England media guys and go down there and, hey, when you can, film the other team's sideline and see if we can steal some of their signals. Like, that's preposterous. I have to see it. I got to hear it from the NFL to believe it. I understand that they might have gone there because they're following a scout who his job from the press box at times is to sit there and check out signals
the do your job series.
Right.
Yeah, that's the reason for getting in there. What you do when you get there is really the question.
Yes.
And to answer your question whether or not they're dumb enough to do it now, they were dumb enough to do it the last time. Remember the interaction between Bob Kraft and Bill Belichick when Belichick told him that it really doesn't help when they clearly were doing it, when they clearly were taping the opponent's sidelines so they could try to crack the code on their signals.
Sure.
Belichick said it really didn't help much, and Kraft's response was, well, then you're a real schmuck.
Well,
so,
okay,
they were dumb enough to do it. They were dumb enough to do it in the past.
At that time, it wasn't the language in the rule book and the bylaws was not very clear on that kind of stuff. So Bill's smart.
Chris,
he took advantage of it.
Let's not relitigate something from 12 years ago that they got busted on. All right,
I got it. I can't believe of it.
You're dead wrong on Spygate and you're dead wrong on Deflategate. You're on the wrong side of both of these.
100% right on
busted.
both.
They got busted. They got busted on Spygate.
Nobody, we know it was Spygate.
Evidence was inconclusive.
Great. Was Spygate great? I mean, that's great. We know they did it. Okay, they've said they did it. But at the same
maybe
time,
they did it again.
There was other teams doing it, and they were filming from the sideline, and they were filming signals that way. And yes, I mean, should they have done it? Was it unethical? Okay, but I don't know. Until after that, there was nothing definitive written out. And a guilty person doesn't destroy their cell phone and text message the ball boy 77 times before he talks to people that way. I mean, and the ball boys disappeared. So I'm 100% right about both. Eat it, Florio. Mike, I know you've heard me say that. And they did some New England stuff to New England. And, here, this first one, this is nothing special. This is 3-deep zone. Brady thinks he's got the seam route open. Bashaud Breeland falls off, intercepts it. You see Julian Edelman was open underneath there. Maybe forced that one, didn't throw the correct ball he wanted to. Now, this is some New England stuff here. Watch them double Julian Edelman and James White. These are the type of thing Patriots would do to Kansas City last year, or any good football team. Oh, it's the red zone. We're not going to let you throw it to Julian Edelman. We know you like him. And then number two, we know you like James White, so we're going to double him as well. Then people standing in the line of scrimmage. Are we blitzing? Are we not? Okay, they decide to blitz this time, force the issue with Brady, make him get the ball out of his hand and make a throw. Doesn't happen here to Philip Dorsett. Okay, and that was kind of the theme of the game. Now, it's same kind of look, but they drop out. We're not going to blitz. And again, it's back to the doubling of Julian Edelman and James White both at the same time. And they basically said, okay, beat us with somebody else, New England. Let's see if you can do that. It was kind of cool. Mike, that defense I talked about a little last week where, the Patriots last year, the free safety in the middle of the field doubled Tyreek Hill in the AFC Championship game. To start the game, the Chiefs did that to the Patriots, which is just funny gamesmanship within the game. The first 2 or 3 plays, they basically played no safety in the middle of the field and doubled Julian Edelman. Just thought that was interesting. But Steve Spagnuolo, he's very creative, and he's doing a good job, and that defense is improving in Kansas City.
Is it fair to say that as a consequence of what we saw last Sunday night when Tom Brady was animated and upset with his young receivers, that kind of played into the game planning, that they know there's tension there, they know that there's dissatisfaction, and we know historically Brady only throws to the guy he trusts.
Right.
So we know who he trusts. Those are the guys we're going to blanket, and we're going to force him to throw it to the guys he doesn't want to throw it to.
I think that's very fair to say. I mean, fair to say from 2 reasons. For what you're saying for Sunday night, seeing the reaction and things like that, to knowing, Tom Brady's going to go back to what he trusts here on Sunday when he plays us, as in the Kansas City Chiefs. And 2, I think the numbers bear it out, too. In certain situations, they're looking for James White, Julian Edelman. So it's kind of a double whammy there. And I think that's why Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo probably got together and said, you know what, this is going to be a week. They're definitely going to try to force these guys the ball. Let's take them away and see if one of these young guys can beat us. And of course, that didn't happen.
It's the Patriots' approach, forcing them.
Yeah, I do. But we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? You got a lot of tough ones for me today.
Well, Pat, that's what happens when you lose 9 games in a row, tying a franchise record. And the question is, will he be around to try to break the record on Sunday when the Dolphins come to town? I think he will be, Chris. I don't get the impression he's going to be fired now. Maybe part of the punishment is you have to go ahead and finish this one out and see if you can get to 12 consecutive losses and extend the franchise record 3 games beyond what it previously was. But, it's almost a foregone conclusion now that this is not sustainable.
That's right.
The question is, when does John Mara and Steve Tisch decide? And Steve Tisch has already said end of the season is when they're going to take it up. But this is bad. This is bad. And last night, I think the fact that they were up and they blew the lead makes it worse than the Garden Variety loss.
Yeah, I totally agreed, and totally agreed in the fact that, I think it's already, in the books. I do. I think Pat Shurmur will not be the Giants head coach when the season ends. They're going to let him finish it out, certainly. I don't even think that's a question anymore. I think the question now is Dave Gettleman around still as the GM to go along with it, or do they totally clean house? I mean, that to me is the next thing. But as far as Pat Shurmur's run, I do think it's over, Mike.
Gettleman's best play would be selling Ron Rivera as aggressively as he can because he worked well with Rivera in Carolina, and that would maybe be the way to keep Gettleman in place. Otherwise, he could be gone as well. We'll be back with more right after this.